Hello guys, this is Chris here in Kansas City with a camper restoration of the 1970 L&MRoadrunner. It is June 10th, 2017. I'm going to start out with a little quiz perhaps. I'm going to let you guess what is in this bucket right here. That's the 5-gallon bucket. Let's look at how full. That's your hint right there. And you get another hint here in a second. Okay, so where I'm picking up, you probably saw a time lapse of me demoing the bathroom, which included getting in to the septic system. That bucket out there had about 35 number ones, so that's a definite hit right there. And surprisingly, it was only about maybe 3 gallons, I would guess. So anyway, bathroom is, for the most part, gone, at least the vanity and the wall. Here we have a metal stud holding up. So why did I have to go this far already? Because the wall isn't done here. Again, have to bring that stud wall header, the top plate, all the way over here. And I want to put one of these right here. And then another one kind of perpendicular to that, facing out this way, and 2 inside the wall. So I had to get this wall out and get this whole vanity out to get to the wall. Alright, so what can I tell you about this little adventure here? I wrote no step. This is a fiberglass container. Any guesses? If someone wants to put a comment about how big this is, it's about, I could probably measure it and just go from there dimensionally, but it's about 6 inches thick, about 24 inches long, or at, you know, the length in terms of the camper dimension, and the width here probably about 4 feet, so 4 by 2 by 6 inches. So I'm gonna guess 30 gallons, but we'll see. And if you get underneath, you see that it actually, see if I can drop you down here. Okay, it actually lowers down. So all of the black water, because this is combined black water, gray water, kind of pools there in the bottom and then connects here to the rest of the piping. You see that white PVC there? So that's been replaced. There's actually 2 gate valves. And if you see, that's a gate valve. There's another one there. So how you can do this is you could empty all of just gray water directly out of the shower and the kitchen sink by leaving this gate closed and opening the second one. And that's my plan, and is adding a secondary tank below for gray water to separate it, because that's going to make this thing and overall you know, out boondocking or whatever, last a lot longer, because you're separating, and most of that of your water, which would fill this quickly, is potable water that is now, you know, gray water from your shower and your sink. So by separating that and dumping it out, that allows this thing to go longer. So I don't know if that was a modification for that purpose, but you can see from the black to the white, my guess is that's changed. And that's what they were doing for that purpose, perhaps. And then, yeah, so that's what I'm thinking there. I don't know if they actually did that and had a secondary tank, but that's my only reason why they would put 2 gate valves. Certainly beneficial for my interest. So I may not have to change anything there. Under here, right here where it's connecting, there was a small leak, and this piece came off of that. So since this is fiberglass, I'm hoping I can fix this tank as if you would like a hull of a fiberglass boat. Because, you know, this is custom. If I were to have to replace this thing, easily $300. And I don't know if it's common practice, best practices today is to still use fiberglass or not. But the tank up front for freshwater, right here, is metal, aluminum. So anyway, all right, onto the toilet itself. Telltale signs here. I found some old, I guess, like lag bolts, if you will, underneath here. This is my creative way to keep it capped off. And that tells me that the toilet was replaced at one time, and certainly these bolts were, and they probably put a new seal. If you see that, that's this like very viscous, kind of greasy seal, the putty seal that you put on there, and it just creates a tight seal so there's no leaks, no gases coming out. So that's easy to fix, you know, just like you'd have in a common house. And this sits on top of that. What else can I share on that front? Let's see. So yeah, I mean, I pretty much got it ripped out. Interestingly, the same with the kitchen sink. It had a grounding wire. It's kind of hard to see if I can get this. So it's connected to the frame and connected to the sink. So if anybody wants to tell me the definitive purpose of that, I mean, grounding, yes, that should be the concept, of course, but why is that so necessary and why to sinks? Because it was on both sinks. So I'm gonna figure that out, probably recreate it. Here's the biggest dent, or one of the biggest, you know, dents on the cladding, the aluminum shell. Hopefully I can knock that out sufficiently. This is not going to be perfect. This thing's going to have scars. That's part of its character. But now I can get to that, which is nice. Where I stand today, I'll show you some more. Let's just think about how this is supported. So I cut all the underbelly out from underneath here. All the plywood is pretty much deteriorated. And what they've done is, the design of this is, there's a 2x2 going across this, you know, that I-beam of the trailer, clear to the other side. Then there's another little 2x2 going this way. And then it actually looks like it's resting. Let's see if I can get all the way here on the back. No, it's actually not. I don't know if there's another 2x2 under there. So that thing, this could only be supported by a single 2x2 this direction, and then one long ways towards the back of the trailer. And then as you go underneath, I should add too, this piece here, I'll show you. You probably saw in the time-lapse video some of this, but you didn't see this aspect. This was back here, and that was to support the floor. You know, when you walk on this thing, you don't want to be standing on this. This is not intended to carry any load on top. So this sat around it, and this is new wood. That's been replaced too. And if you also saw in the video, there were pieces of plywood that had been cut out and replaced. Here's an example. This is, and they used larger than I bet original. This looks like at least 3/4 inch ply. So this was one here. There was another one here. The only original flooring was kind of through here. And I don't know if there was anything over there, but this is where a lot of the mice nest was, and under here. So you can kind of see the remnants of chewed up insulation and tissue paper. I found two bodies. Where's that guy? Anyway, the mouse, he's under there somewhere. We're pretty well preserved. Anyway, so this tank is not, I'm going to kind of bolster this up, put a 4x4 versus a 2x2 all the way underneath, and I want to do it without cutting any of the piping, and by cutting the piping, you know, that's just, maybe I'm being cheap, but that's money I don't want to spend if I don't have to. So if I can demo the existing floor enough to put in the new stuff without cutting anything, that's ideal. And this is going to be part of the hardest aspect of that, is this shower supported by these 2x4s. There's only 2 of them that run long ways, and got to get those out, get the plywood out, and what I'm going to do is, you'll see it, I've never done anything like this, but I have a lot of long pieces of plywood left. So, for instance, with this, I'll have, you know, 1/2 inch ply, and I'm going to kind of, I forget the technique what it's called, but you kind of waffle pattern it together. And then that way, instead of just two single 2x4s under there, and then here with this, you know, 2x3 here and the 2x4 or whatever, I can put it all around the floor nicely with this sort of waffle pattern of plywood pieces that I have that can support it. Instead of not being so heavy of wood and concentrate in one area, it's going to kind of create this sort of structural flooring across the board. And I haven't stepped in the shower yet to determine if it was sagging or if there was any issues there. It doesn't look like there was, but anything to strengthen that floor would be preferable. A couple things here. It looks like that could be a check valve. It's just this little box that goes to the drain of the shower, and I suspect, almost certain of how it works is, if it were in fact not a check valve, then if your shower started to back up, and don't worry, you wouldn't have fecal matter coming into the shower, but then you knew this tank was full, because how else would you know it's full, you know? But if you look at the piping and the, you know, the hydraulic grade line, if you will, the water, the top of the tank is below the drain here. So if this thing gets full and say the gate valve is open here, it's going to backflow, you know, or at least not let water fill the tank up to this point. It's going to start filling it back, and then you're going to see it come up the drain. It's not going to be any fecal matter. It would just be the gray water. Certainly, now if you were to close that gate valve to the tank and separate your gray water, same thing. If you filled a gray water tank down below, it would back up, same thing. And of course you have to, you know, have this gate valve open if you don't have a gray water tank, because all you're going to have is the storage from here up to there, and that's going to be full in, you know, half a shower, and that'll be no good. So so that's a little thing that I've kind of gleaned from this. The shower, fiberglass shower, seems to be in good shape. If I show you this bit, the only damage, I mean, I'd recaulk this stuff. It looks like two pieces, like this shell kind of comes off. And you can see that by this seam. Now, again, this is fiberglass piece you put over it, and then you coat it with some glue, and it hardens. So I don't want to try and cut that out. I think I'm going to leave it and just recaulk on the inside, probably likely all the way around. And then up here is the only part where it's sort of damaged. If you can see, let me stand up here. Don't want to stand on that tank. All right, so I don't know if that's a patch job, maybe. One thing I would like to be able to do, you know, it's got a seat and stuff. It's not small, but if I could open, you know, this is what, 1.5 feet, maybe almost 2 feet of a gap on the entrance here. If I could widen that, so it's just by a few inches here, it would make kind of egress in the shower a little easier. But let's see, I would have to cut fiberglass and drop it back. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. That could be a modification down the road if I want. Alright, so this is already way too long at 12, almost 13 minutes. So I'm going to get started here. I don't know if I'll time lapse it, but the next plan, hopefully what you see is new 2x4 under this tank, and plywood, and yeah, and like I said, I'm going to reuse that tank, patch it from the other underside, and hopefully you'll see. I don't know if we'll get as far as seeing the waffle in the next video, but that'll be a phenomenal step. And then once I get that in, or at least the underside of this, then I can get back to what I was telling you before, because again, that's the whole reason I had to get into this, is so I can finish out this wall. So, alright, thanks for watching, and please keep watching.